the In Will Time Car
or
Talk
push
Show
the button sometime.
on iHeartRadio. Coming up, the Car Clinic. We'll have this week's auto news. And we're going to have Rodney Rodriquez with a new car talk show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, all thumbs, and Don Armstrong. So glad you could join us today. Jeff Zekin's out. He'll be back with us next week at the NHRA event down in Baytown. Joining us now, however, is the fabulous and famous Rodney Rodriquez.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fabulous.
Are you impressed?
I'm very impressed.
Easily.
I'm flabbergasted, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could get his video up here, maybe like that.
Comrades.
Yeah.
I'm still messing with your phone.
I know.
Come on, Don. You threw the whole process off here, buddy.
You know, I give Conrad. I know. I give Conrad my phone to post something.
And I'm like a 7-year-old girl. I'm scrolling through it to find out all of his Instagram account numbers.
I don't have any Instagram accounts. I'm not on. Give me my damn phone.
Tell us, what all are you finding on this phone?
Bad stuff. Stuff we can't talk about on the air.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, your audio sounds terrible. I don't know why. Why does his audio sound so bad?
Because I think he's got his microphone a little too low, maybe.
I don't know. It's not too low. It's too hot. But whatever the case may be,
I
Rodney.
meant the position.
So, what is this new radio show?
It'd be my voice the problem, to be honest
Well,
with you guys.
Is that what it is?
He was racing last night.
Were you racing?
Yeah, I did Waco last night, so it takes its toll. It takes its toll. Dirty air, it's actually a byproduct of the cool thing for the Gulf Coast Series becoming a part of Racing America. Kind of one of the things that was worked out in that whole negotiation was that they wanted a show, about our series because, we're a new series and we're, kind of an up and comer. So Dirty Air was born. And so it's Thursday nights on the Gulf Coast page, as well as on Racing America. So it's super exciting. But it's a bigger thing for the series because you want to talk about national exposure. This is the old Speed 51. This is the innovator when it comes to race streaming. So it's a big thing for the series. Well,
I'm thrilled. Now, are you still doing your show on Monday nights?
Yeah. We still do that, and of course that's more Texas based, with our Texas dirt tracks and so forth. But we'll do Monday nights, and then Thursday nights we'll do Dirty Air with Racing America. So it's a lot of prep, guys. It's a lot of prep.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to the prep kings here because I know that Mars and I work on this show, all week long. And it takes 2 or 3 hours every day out of our time. And Mars puts in more time than I do. And you'd think, well, these guys just sit down at the microphone and, come up with stuff and talk and no big deal. But it's not quite that easy, is it?
No, it's not. And, there's a lot, I spend a lot of time in this room that I'm sitting in right here because it really is. I mean, just the technology stuff. You have to stay on top of that. Any little blip is going to cause a problem. And that's not even talking about guests following news, coming up with opinions. I think people think that a lot of us, when we do this, like you said, Don, we just kind of sit down and start talking. You have to think about these topics and you have to correlate and come up with opinions, whether it be kind of a unpopular one or whatever, and you have to be able to defend it. So it takes a lot of time. It is 2 to 3 hours a day at least.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about some of the stuff that you talk about on Dirty Air. And I know that this is focused on Gulf Coast Racing Series. I got that. And Gulf Coast Racing Series is circle track stuff on asphalt. But you talk about dirt track stuff as well?
It's going to be just anything along the Gulf Coast. We will really try to hone in to our drivers because the beauty of it is so many of our drivers race in Pensacola. So many of them, they'll race at South Alabama Speedway. They go up to Georgia. So that's the beauty of this, where it's going to really afford the opportunity to yes, Gulf Coast, but Gulf Coast doesn't race every week. So like this coming week, I'll talk to probably people that are off at Auburndale, running in the Wheelman Series. So it's really what it's gonna do for the series is it's gonna bring us some exposure with some of these other racing series with some of these other racetracks, short tracks, pavement and dirt, to where they'll know who we are and allow us to kind of fall into the fold with them. And that's really been the goal from the get-go. I mean, with Texas all the way, with Houston, it was always a goal for us, for Houston, to get Houston relevant in that Southeast short track family.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
Yeah, the recognition of the sport is an important piece of growth.
That's exactly right. And I mean, I hate to say it, it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but to be a player in that, it really affords you opportunities. Right. I mean, obviously the goal with this is to get a lot of eyeballs on this. Advanced Auto Parts and Mike Cooper are exceptional to us as partners in this. But, if we get associate partners and we get other people that want to become a part of the series, it enhances the growth. And there's already one race. I mean, I believe it's on June 4th. The series will go outside of Mobile, outside of Houston, and go to a different track, Montgomery Motor Speedway, and run our trucks there. So that's really the thing, and it's coming down to the drivers. We want to give the drivers opportunities to do what they love and be on a nice platform.
So let's talk about Houston for a minute, since we are here, and the fact that we're only going to get 3 events here in the Houston area, and that's kind of disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, because the basis of the series is there. And this whole thing, this hood back here, Texas Short Track Racing Series, that's where it all started. And you have July 2nd, August the 6th, and September the 10th. So the change was we lose the first one, which not lose, but there won't be what was the first one, which is May 21st. But I do want to take a little time, guys, if you don't mind, to really address something. I think there's a misconception floating around that maybe the focus is not so much with Texas and with Houston. And that's hardly the fact. I mean, that's hardly the fact. I mean, Texas is the core of it. I mean, when you plant a tree, what you put in the ground is the root, and Texas is the root, and it's always been the root, and it's still the goal to race as often as possible in Houston, or Texas for that matter. But it's a lot more difficult. You talk about show prep, and Don, you've heard some of the stories with this. You talk about show prep. It's a hell of a lot more than going to the racetrack, turning on the lights, and doing all of this, and then the whole fact that you've got to pay a lease and you've got to do all of this. It's hard, and yes, it's a kick in the, that we lose May 21st. But like I've been telling folks, let's take what we have, and hopefully we can build with it. And folks are telling me, well, you can't have a race car and just count on 3 races. Well, that's what we have, unfortunately. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, if you don't step forward, you're going backwards. So we need the people who race here in Texas to step forward, fill the field. They'll add races if they see. I mean, ultimately, this comes down to track profitability as well. Nobody really wants to say that, but that's the reality of it. If the track can't make money putting on the race, they're not going to put on that many races. So if they make good cash flow on these 3 races, we'll get more races next year.
Yeah, and you can't. It's not fair to frown upon Gina, because she's the one. I mean, still doing this, yes. The partner help is great, but still, a lot of this is out of her and Bo's pocket.
Oh yeah,
and that sucks. The other part about it is, there's people that are frowning upon, Dean Baker out there. But I mean, if I'm Dean Baker, I mean, to me, the drag strip, I mean, that is that thing is just, it's just like, a calculator. I mean, he's doing well. I mean, why would you interrupt a very good business model? He's done us a great service to allow us the opportunity to even race, on his oval. But I mean, why do you disrupt that? I mean, it's just a tough situation, and that's where Mobile is different, where Gina does have the flexibility, being that's hers. There's a drag strip there that she works in conjunction with, but they are totally separate. They do not rely on each other. One does not affect the other than cross promotion, and that's not the situation in Houston. But I was talking to, I go to Waco last night, and somebody comes up and wants to talk about HMP. What's going on with all of that, and even this person understands it. He's like, I hate it, but man, it just, the business model is good for that place right now.
Yes. Well, I will say this, that I would imagine that there are a bunch of Houston drivers that will trailer over to Alabama to race over there in Mobile that typically they might not go every week or every race, but I would imagine that they do make plans to go over there, trailer over there on Friday, race on Saturday, trailer back on Sunday. Am I right?
Go for some of the big purse events.
Well, if you got a good product, they got a good track, they know they're going over there to get their money's worth, if you will, because it's going to cost them money to get there.
Yeah.
Then that's a big difference, you know.
What is the attendance like over there? Is it continuing to grow?
It is, and the nice thing is, the grandstands are continuing to be more conducive for fans, and that's huge. Of course, you make all of these strides, and then the storm comes in and knocks out your electrical system. So I tell you, you can't win for losing. But the timing of all of this is really the timing is hard, because if this were to have happened a couple of years ago, I mean, it may be easier for the Texans to do that. Now I'm sure this is something you guys talk about on your show, with gas being, $8,000 a gallon, it's hard to make a trip, and especially when you're hauling around an enclosed toter trailer or whatever it may be, with doing that. But it really is the goal. The series just wants to be as fair as possible, and just wants to, we talk about money. There's not many folks that I know that are in this, the part of the sport that we're in, that are doing this for money. I mean, the money part, you're going to lose money. You are not going to break even. So it's
that's the hope. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, it's not like or unlike any other sport. And the fact is that you want to participate, and it's going to cost you money to participate, no matter what it is. Whether you're taking the kids to volleyball practice or you're taking the son over to football, it's going to cost you. Water polo, any of those things. But I will say that racing folks, they are dedicated, and they will trailer that. If it's $10 a gallon, okay, well, that's just part of the expense. We might not go 4 times this year, might only have to go 2, but we're going to go where the action is. And I've made that trip over to Mobile. Is it a pleasant trip down I-10 through Neaterville? No, it is not. But I will tell you this, once you get over to the Louisiana side, it's a clear sailing right on over to Mobile. So there is that.
Yeah, it's definitely a pay-to-play sport, the ultimate pay-to-play sport.
Yeah,
and that is the thing, with it. But I have to say that the folks over there have been very welcoming. I mean, we took the Legacy Series down there for a race or two, and I know of at least 3 guys down there that have already found these cars and have them down there. And we took our ever popular Eco Stocks down there, and they as well, they love that class. It's been hard, and that's one of the what's the best way to say it? It's always been the thing with Texas trying to work with these other states, with Louisiana and Mississippi and Georgia and Florida, is we pay it forward, where we go to their snowball derbies, and we go to their rattlers, and we go to their all of these races, and we're well attended, and there's a strong Texas influence. Very strong influence with Five Flags and Pensacola for the longest time. There for several years, the Texans were their truck series, and it's like, well, they're not paying it back. They're not paying it back. They're not coming to Texas to race, or they wouldn't come to Texas to race. And frankly, I mean, why would they? I mean, you've got, it amazes me to look in Florida. There are these tracks. There are Houston Motorsports parks everywhere in Florida. And that, man, you want to talk about, hey, look, I'm a fan of dirt track racing. I love calling dirt track races. I don't want to race on it. I love the dirt track scene here in Texas, great folks, but my heart is with asphalt. And I network with these Florida folks, and it's like, oh, Thursday I'll be here, Friday I'll be here, we've got a Sunday afternoon event over here, and I'm like, we got 3 races in Texas all year. You just rattled off 3 in 3 days.
Yeah, let's talk about the broadcast now. Is it also on video online on a Saturday night?
Yeah. Well, that right there, you just go to racingamerica.com or racingamerica.tv. It'll be one of the two. This is subscription based, but I believe it's $9.99 a month. But with this, you're going to get not only our content, but just you have to check it out. Racingamerica.com, racingamerica.tv. There's racing from all across the country. Dirt, asphalt. If you're missing your asphalt, if you are missing your asphalt racing, Houston, Texas friends, the Houston folks know about Speak 51.
Okay, let me ask you
This
this.
is the place to go.
Yeah, let me ask you just quickly here about sprint cars. I know that there's a thing about winged sprint cars on asphalt that just is really kind of a no-go place because they wreck all over the place. They're flipping all over. So you take the wings off of them, and you actually get the cars to slow down a little bit, and there's not so many accidents. Are sprint cars a viable feature at asphalt tracks?
To me, they are. Ideally for me, those cars on a side at Mobile, they would just rip that place. It worries me at Mobile. You saw it, Don. There's no walls.
I was gonna say they can get
other than the
fast.
front stretch. It would concern me there with the speeds, the no walls. You get one of those things airborne, which they are apt to do, and it could get a little hairy. For me, not to add any salt to the wound, but I would love to see them at Houston.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Perfect place.
I know,
perfect
me too.
place.
I know.
That 3/8 would be awesome.
Yeah, it truly would. Well, listen, man, best of luck with your new show, Dirty Air. And I guess we can find that online as well.
Yeah, Thursdays at 6:00. I know on the last show I said that it would be Tuesdays, but it's actually going to be Thursdays. Racing America on Facebook, as well as it'll dual stream on the Gulf Coast Racing Series Facebook page and racingamerica.tv.
Hey, looking at the poster behind you, what kind of beer? What kind of beer is that in your hand?
You know, it's funny. So when that was made, so they told me what they wanted in a whatever this thing is called, caricature or whatever they call it. And I said, so we figured it out. I send this thing to they wanted a picture of myself, which it's like, okay, let me find something that's decent. So I find a picture, I send it to them, and I told them, I said, I need a microphone. I need a microphone in the picture. And they sent that, and so many people have said, that is so drop dead on, because that can be a microphone or a beer, one of the two.
A beer phone.
A beer phone.
There it is, a beer phone. Absolutely.
Rodney, it's great to talk to you. Great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for coming on, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Be well, guys. Thanks
You
for the
do
time.
the same. You bet. Love that guy. You
Wealth
know,
of information
and
a source of knowledge
and
for
he's
us.
a great play-by-play guy at the racetrack as a public address announcer, and now
That's
obviously
why his voice is
broadcasting.
wore out.
Yeah, exactly. Because he puts his heart and soul in it. And he knows what he's talking about, and he makes it exciting. It's lots of fun. Yeah. Okay. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. All you got to do is shoot us an email. That address is info@inwheeltime.com. Why don't we do Conrad's Car Clinic?
Okay.
Are you ready for that?
Yes, I will be here in just a moment.
Okay, well, I can give you some time if you'd like. Would you like me to do a little tap dance over here?
No, that's okay. I've seen you dance before. It's embarrassing.
I posted some really good runway models the other night.
Yes, you did.
See that?
I saw you dancing with your daughter at her wedding.
I did, yes.
You looked very svelte.
I was dapper that evening for one time in my life. Dapper Don.
So let's talk a little bit as we're coming into that season of your climate control system. Many car owners are pretty vigilant about their
vigilant.
Wait
a minute, climate control system.
Yep.
You talking about your AC?
Your air conditioning.
Thank you.
Yeah. So they're vigilant about regular maintenance, such as oil changes and tire rotation, brake pad replacement. Theoretically. However, all too often they forget about their air conditioning system. Neglecting the climate control system can lead to more than just that unpleasant smell of Don walking through and
wet underwear.
And it can cause the burning of the eyes, irritating the airways, constricting the breathing. Over the course of a single year, climate control systems go through multiple moisture cycles and are exposed to a variety of weather and road conditions and lots of what I'll call organic material. All this yellow snow that's falling on your cars getting into
moisture cycles. Let me write that down. I'm going to use that somewhere in the future.
Moisture cycles.
Well, every time you turn your car on, the air conditioning system makes that inside the evaporator case wet, because part of conditioning the air is not just removing the heat, it's also removing the moisture. That's why when you sit parked for a while, your car makes that little puddle underneath the passenger side.
Or is that a piddle?
It's the AC piddling as it pulls the humidity out of the air and drops underneath. Well, so all of that means that you need to do something to manage that buildup of those contaminants in the springtime. Let's get it all cleaned up. It's full of allergens and bacteria. Over time, mold, mildew, viruses, and bacteria can grow in that cabin, the evaporator case and the cabin air filter and the evaporator itself. When you turn the air conditioning on, those allergens are blown through the inside of the cabin climate control system, right? Have you ever started your car and smelled that dirty sock smell?
Yeah.
Kind of like
awful.
starting your central heat unit first time of the year, so
Right.
you get a dirt smell.
And that's an indication that you have mold, mildew, bacteria, and viruses growing in your air conditioning system. So, what can you do about it? There's products out there that kind of fill the evaporator case up with foam and will clean it out for you, and then it literally drains out that same little drain in the bottom. We've talked to Carolina over there, and she's actually captured that stuff coming out, and she's got samples of it that she can show you in a water bottle.
I don't want to see that.
It is disgusting looking. But, you want to maintain that, because when you're smelling that, you're actually ingesting that mold, mildew, and virus. That's what causes that smell. So maintaining good health, and especially important for people and infants whose lungs are still developing, and adults with respiratory illnesses such as asthma and emphysema and COPD. Vehicle owners can do something to protect themselves and their families from those hidden dangers, getting in there with a good cleaner to kill the mold, bacteria, mildew, and viruses that'll and stop those odors from growing inside your air conditioning system, as well as replace that cabin air filter at least twice a year.
If you have one.
If you have one. Not all cars have one, but replace it twice a year. Believe me,
Oh, my gosh.
the first time you replace it, you're going to go, oh, that's disgusting. Because if you haven't replaced it in a while, it looks like a rat's nest. And it does two things. Not only does it collect all that organic material, it slows the airflow going down, kind of like the filter is inside your house. If that's plugged up, the airflow out the vents is less because it can't draw enough air through it. So, it's multifaceted.
I know
by
something
keeping
that I
your
always
AC
used to
system
do. I
clean.
don't do it, and I probably should in the Corvette, is I just give me a can of Lysol, put the AC on recirculate, get underneath there and shoot it where it sucked it all in on the passenger side, and it helped tremendously.
It can help. It doesn't touch all of the mold,
Correct.
mildew, and bacteria. So that's why this foaming agent will do a good job of, because to kill bacteria, you got to kill it with an antibacterial agent. So it does a good job, but you want something that, especially if you don't have a cabin air filter, all of that dust and hair and stuff that's in the cabin air filter, it gets on the face of the evaporator. So something that'll get on it and break it down into a liquid and let it drain out the AC drain is really what you want.
Maybe
to
that's
do.
the next thing I need to spend my money on and have that done.
Well, Carolina.
It's only got 25,000 miles on it, though. How bad could it be?
Yeah, but
I think you would be
how old
surprised.
it is.
How much does it smell like your feet?
It doesn't.
Okay. Even though it sits out there under the cover, which is holding all that moisture in under
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
So
Now, what I thought about was getting some Ridex. Is that Ridex, that moisture stuff that you open the lid on it and
And
set it in?
Yeah.
collects water.
Yeah.
Yep. Good idea.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely springtime. It's time to go get your AC system cleaned.
Ready for that. Thank you, sir. Toyota Motor Company plans to launch an SUV version of the Crown sedan for Japan, China, and North America. Revamping a nameplate that has been a showpiece of Japan's market for nearly 7 decades, the SUV, which will come in hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full electric models, marks an attempt to bring the 67-year-old Crown more in line with market trends as consumers shy away from sedans. Sales of the hybrid are expected to begin in the summer of 2023 and will include exports to China and North America, while the plug-in hybrid is intended for the domestic market and not here. Elon, Tesla CEO,
Here.
announced the offer in a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday to take over Twitter for $43 billion.
Go for it, Elon.
Chump change to him.
But it's 54.
$54.20 per share.
And there's always, in everything Elon does, there is the number 420 is in everything he does when he's buying something. You know
And
why?
It refers to pot. He's a big pothead.
I think it's great.
You know, I was born, but not yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, but you forgot that.
What? Suppliers to internal combustion engine vehicles will need to realign their businesses, simplify their supply bases, and increase their merger and acquisition activity if they hope to thrive in the world of electric cars and trucks, according to a recent industry report by the consulting firm McKinsey. It's all over the internet.
As all of their suppliers are going out of business.
Well, there will be if everything goes the way that the automakers say it will, and that is that they're pouring so much money into the electric business. Honda, in the midst of a radical corporate makeover, said it will invest $39.91 billion over the next 10 years in electrification as it rolls out 30 full electric vehicles globally and builds production capacity for 2 million EVs annually by 2030.
You mentioned that, the Ford F-150 Lightning is just now starting production, and they'll be making deliveries later this month.
Yep. And speaking of which, European electric vehicle charger maker Wallbox on Monday began construction of its U.S. plant in Arlington, Texas. The 130,000 square foot factory will begin production in early fall and manufacture more than 250,000 units next year. No, sorry, in 2022, according to the company.
130,000 square feet, that's actually kind of small.
The company said it chose Arlington because of the city's position as a transit hub between the U.S. coasts and its proximity to major cities such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and Austin. That is it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, and we will have more right after a quick break.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Tony Stewart Racing joins the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series, and his drivers, Leah Pruitt and Matt Hagan, will face off against NHRA stars including the legendary John Force Racing Team. Don't miss this battle of horsepower and performance. It's the final NHRA Spring Nationals event at Houston Raceway Park. Don't miss it, April 22nd through 24th. This is your last chance for nitro action in Baytown. Tickets at HoustonRaceway.com.
The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/InWheelTimeCarTalk.